If you only knew the power of the dark side, it is your destiny.
This is Take the Gate. It is September 22nd, 2014, and I'm bringing you an article that was found on The Guardian. And it is titled The Hidden Leaks of Pennsylvania's Abandoned Oil and Gas Wells, and it was written by Peter Moskowitz on the 18th of September. And I'm bringing you another article that was found on Think Progress, and it is written by Emily Atkin, and the title is Pennsylvania Natural Resources Agency Ordered to Delete Climate Change Info from Website. And it was posted on September 19th, 2014. And both of these link together, and I'll tell you why. And I'm going back to this other article here, and you can see this article on The Guardian details this woman by the name of Lori Barr and her history. So you can see here it says the problem for a well hunter like Barr and for the state of Pennsylvania is that there are about 200,000 of them. So these are about past fracking wells and gas drilling wells that are around the country. So she discovered this. I discovered this through other methods too, but no one knows exactly how many abandoned oil and gas wells litter Pennsylvania or the United States. The Department of Environmental Protection estimates that there is close to 200,000. Some estimates are a little lower, some are a little higher. Across the country, the number could be more than 1 million. Most of the wells are a relic of a time when states did not bother to regulate much of what happened on private land, including oil and gas drilling, and when most of the Americans didn't think twice about a seemingly esoteric issue like the environment. So they've lost track of where these wells would be, and at some point during World War II, these wells that were sealed were stripped of their casing that were made out of metal for World War II's war effort. But now they are leaking all over and causing methane release, just like hydraulic fracturing does. And when you have older well sites and newer well sites near each other, you get seepage and backflow from saltwater breakout through older drilling sites, and chemicals come to the surface and poison the community. So if you read this part right here, Barr, who lives a few towns down south of Bradford, has been hunting oil and gas wells for 3 years until 2011, and she was mainly a photographer and an illustrator and anti-fracking activist in her spare time. But in winter and spring of that year, a series of fires and explosions in northwestern Pennsylvania, including a house explosion in Bradford, were linked to abandoned wells. The explosion at 10 Helen Street was completely destroyed a house owned by Tom Federspiel. Luckily, he had decided to shovel snow and was outside when the house exploded. The methane had migrated through an abandoned well up through his basement, and that's when she realized that thousands of activists who were fighting against the boom had hardly noticed anyone was paying attention to the threat posed by the industry's past, namely the old drilling wells and pipes and whatnot. That's why this is a big issue. The release of methane is a greenhouse gas catalyst that drives climate change. And they don't want you to know this. Oil and gas cannot be removed from the environment and has always been bad for the environment and the weather in general. So climate change happens not just here in the United States but worldwide. And the results of it, such as the drought in California or the floods in different parts of the world, are responsible from climate change. So the extreme weather that we see is a result of that. So on the other article, and like I've covered before about methane and climate change, this is about climate change, and Governor Tom Corbett has decided to remove all references to climate change on the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources websites. So no website in Pennsylvania, as far as I can tell, at least under the control of the state of Pennsylvania, has any reference to climate change. And here is one specific website. It was once called iconservepa.org, and it was removed. Right here, as you can see, this was what it used to look like. The reason being is that agencies review websites to determine if information being communicated to the public is consistent with the policy platforms of a new administration, said the spokesperson Christina Novak. No, that's called BS, because that is not what's being done and ever has been done. And it's called manufacturing consent, manufacturing science, anti-science. That's what it's called. It's called sticking your head into the ground and pretending the problem is not there. I call it ostrich syndrome, but other people might just call it being willfully ignorant or having cognitive dissonance. There are many different terms for it. So I will leave a link to these at the bottom under the description. And if you have any chance of reading this and sharing it, I would advise people to do so. This is Take the Gate. Please comment, rate, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Signing out.